No problem.
Begin.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the Southborough Board of Health meeting to order at 10:02 a.m. on Tuesday, June 20th, 2023. All board members are present. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for being flexible as the townhouse was getting worked on this morning. So we figured this would be a better environment to meet. First order of business is public comment. And we don't have anyone in the audience, so we will move on. Approval of minutes from 4/11/23 and 5/23/23. Did everyone get a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Any comments? Okay, so I'm going to move that we approve the meeting minutes from 4/11/23 and 5/23/23.
And I second the motion and vote aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And Chelsea's aye. Thank you. Staff schedule. So I just wanted to put this on the agenda because Heather is changing her hours as of July 1st, 2023. So her and I have had a chance to touch base on kind of what she was thinking in terms of her schedule. And as you remember, it's 18 hours a week. You know, she's kind of wearing a couple of different hats. So Heather, do you kind of want to give the board a general overview of what you're thinking? And then we also discussed Heather sending out an email to the board members at the beginning of every month of the days she will be in the office. Obviously, it's subject to change if something comes up, but just so that we have a general sense of when she'll actually be there, so that we're aware of it. So go ahead, Heather.
Yeah, so in looking at the 18 hours a week, like I said, I still do some stuff Wednesday morning, usually UMass, sometimes remote, sometimes in person. So my sort of plan was to, in general, not work Fridays because there's not a lot of standing meetings and such, but occasionally there's conferences. I just signed up for the food Yankee conference in September, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Anyway, so the standard week, I think, will be Monday through Thursday. We'll have roughly 2 days where I come to Southborough and 2 days that I'm remote. So it'll make up the 18 hours that way.
Is everybody okay with that and having Heather let us know kind of, you know, when she'll be in and not?
Right, because there's various meetings, you know, that are monthly. So I don't think I can always do the same, but I was roughly going to do about 12 hours in person and 6 hours remote for meetings.
And Liz, you probably saw the setup when you were there last week. You know, if everybody's on the same call, like,
Zoom,
it's difficult, right?
Yeah,
so
no,
I
it's
know
good to do Zooms from home.
Yeah. So I think, you know, if Heather can prioritize when she does her Zoom calls from home, then I think that will alleviate some of the noise.
It's hard when Dennis is here to do a Zoom. I will say that.
Okay. And Taylor's kind of status quo as of right now. And Taylor, if you want to just send the board out an email on the dates that you're on vacation this summer, I think that would be helpful, just so that everybody knows when you're going to be out of pocket. And obviously we have nursing backup if needed with Northborough, with Erin, if anything comes up. And I'm sure she's aware of your schedule.
And I think board members know Friday at noon our office closed. We're not here Friday afternoon, Liz. And Taylor works remotely Tuesday afternoon.
And Barbara is in our office in the mornings every
morning
day. And then she switches to assessors, but she has the capability to answer the Board of Health phone and respond to inquiries via email remotely. Barbara, do you have anything else to add to that on your schedule?
Nope.
Okay. Good. Okay. Biweekly staff updates. So I also spoke to Heather and emailed Taylor about this. So I thought it would be helpful given that, I mean, the three of us are fairly newer to the Board of Health, right? I think the most is 2 years. So something that we did, that Mark Purple did on the select board side was he sent out actually weekly status update emails so that the board would know what was going on. I didn't think we needed that frequent, but I thought it would be helpful if Heather and Taylor sent to the board biweekly emails so that we would understand what they were working on. I'm not talking about like regular, like I answered 60 calls this week. I'm talking about like status of projects or initiatives that are going on, or, you know, Heather's on a DPH call and there's something new that we should be looking into. She can let the board know about that. So I'm looking for kind of like, not like I did 6 inspections this week or whatever it is. So I just thought that would be helpful so that we can, you know, continue to improve on what we understand is going on in the department and what opportunities exist. And also with Heather reducing our hours so that we can make sure that whatever she's doing is the best use of her time and that we're not getting caught up in some, you know, minutia that somebody else should be doing. And we can really look at and honing in on maximizing the hours that we have for our employees. So that's kind of, I mean, we can try it. If it doesn't work, we can stop it. But I just thought that that might be a good way for us to stay engaged, especially during the summer when things are a little bit quieter. Heather or Taylor, do you have anything else to add to that or something that you think you might want to include? Okay. Sefter or Liz, does that sound good? Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay, backup septic inspector. So I always forget the gentleman's name. Heather, help me. I always think it's Brian. It's not.
Bill Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bill Murphy was the health director in Sudbury and was our backup, meaning when Dennis is on vacation, he would help us if we really needed someone. He wasn't filling in on Dennis's 19.5 hours. He was really just, if we needed something, we would call him and he would help us. He has now taken the Framingham position. So he really doesn't have time and is not interested in helping us, which we are very appreciative that he was willing to step in.
Yeah, he's great. And he
year.
knows, he knows the installers here. So it was
Right.
pretty seamless.
Right. So that leaves us with not having a backup right now. So I am working on reaching out to some health directors in our surrounding areas to get a backup. So I don't have anything ready as of today, but I may have something ready prior to our next meeting. And if that's the case, I may just ask us to meet quickly just to sign off on that so that we can have somebody in place when Dennis is out. And I believe Dennis is out right now.
He's coming back tomorrow to South.
Okay, he's back tomorrow. Okay.
But
So
then I think it's September, but I'm not sure.
okay. So I'd at least like to get that in place, just in case something does come up. And my intention would be that in addition to being able to do septic inspections, that they could do some site plans if we needed to, and that they would be able to do any aspect of the septic side that is needed.
Right. And that's in addition to the greater boroughs for the next year, fiscal year. I believe there's backed up inspector services, about $4,700 is going into the greater boroughs for next year.
Right. And we do have the way the budget works for contracted services is that's where Dennis falls under. So he's a part-time employee, 19.5 hours. So we budget for 19.5 hours. So when he doesn't work, he doesn't get paid. So that money can be used for a backup inspector. So we'll still fall within our budget.
Right. It'll fall into that number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Collin Center data request status. And I have not touched base with Heather, Taylor, or Barbara on this. So can you three just give an update on where we're at with all the data uploads for Collin Center?
So we had kind of broken it up by person. All of the things from the nursing side are uploaded. And we kind of work together on some of the stuff. I'm not sure if it's all done or not though. So other people can speak to their
I mean, I
part.
think Barbara and I, right, Barbara thought that we had from the Southborough side uploaded the requests.
Okay. Great. So I have a touch base next week with Morgan from Collin Center. I would anticipate that she will want to start scheduling the interviews. So if you have anybody, actually, you know what I'll do? I'll work with Barbara on sending everybody a list of interviewees. And if you have anybody else to add, you can send it back to Barbara. Does that sound okay, Barbara?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. So I'll try to get that done by the end of the week. And then if you guys can get back to me before, I think it's next Friday, that would be great. Okay, request opioid settlement warrant article for fall town meeting. So I'll just give a little bit of background, Liz, because I'm not sure you're familiar with the opioid settlement money. So every town, I think, has received opioid settlement money. And off the top of my head, I can't remember how much it is. If anybody remembers, you can chime in.
It's more the first year because a couple of them were kind of first year dependent. I want to say the first year might be $120,000. It's a decent sum of money. And it's a thing that towns opted into. And we opted into all of them. There was initial round, and then recently there was CVS and Walgreens, or there were three other options to adopt into. And then it's a yearly payment for 13 years. And again, I can't remember the exact number, but somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 or 50,000 a year. We are above there's a $35,000 a year. The state has set a cutoff that municipalities will need to do an annual reporting that would be made public. So we're above that. I remember we're above the 35,000 for the annual. So it is a good, decent amount of money.
So the challenge with it is you have to appropriate the funds at town meeting. So we didn't do it in the spring because I was hoping that the state was going to come out with like some finer tuned language, and they didn't. So I think we're at the point now where we just need to put it on the warrant for the fall. And I have the language that Northborough used to appropriate it. And so I think we can do something similar to that. It does not have to specify the programs that you're using it for, although the money has to be spent on specific programs, or not programs. It has to have the intent of what the opioid settlement money is being used for. So just as long as the program is covered by whatever that category is, you can use it towards that program. And Kristen Black, who's the health director on the Northborough side, as well as Mary Ellen Duggan, who is the wellness director for the school system on both towns, is working on looking at programming for the schools. And I think we should look at mirroring that, especially if it's a Melican program. We should do it at Trotter. So I would like us to take a position to request the select board to add this to the warrant for fall town meeting so that we can have the funds available. And that would mean the day after town meeting, the funds would be available because we have the money already. And we just can't use it. Questions on that? Okay, so I move that the Board of Health request the opioid settlement warrant article for fall town meeting.
And I second the motion and vote aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Jill say aye. Okay, 3-0. Okay, public health nurse updates. Taylor.
Okay, so I don't have a lot, but just a couple things. So the summer is when we have camps. Very busy doing camp inspections, prep work for camps. Have a couple inspections this week, and we'll be doing them probably until August. We have 8 camps this year, so it's a good amount. So I did a camp inspection at St. Mark's last week. That was wonderful. And I'll do 2 this week that I'm expecting to be good as well. They are camps that historically have been great. So, and then we, Erin, who is the Greater Barrows nurse, and I took a CPR instructor class a couple weeks ago now with the intent to be able to do CPR training for the community, as well as employees if they're interested. We have a couple prerequisites that we need to get done prior to being able to start doing this course. We have to go to a class of someone teaching it who is a AHA certified instructor. They also have to watch us teach a class, and then we'll be signed off on doing it. Kristen ordered all of our equipment to be able to teach the class last Friday, I believe. So that equipment should be coming in within the next 2 weeks, I would imagine. So we're thinking hopefully we'll be able to get these started in the fall, and it would probably rotate monthly between towns. And there's 2 ways that we can do it. One is the basic life support class, which gives the ability for everyone to have an official card. And then the other way that we can do it is it's called a friends and family card, which is not our official certificate, but we can do an abridged version, kind of like a 5-minute CPR if we wanted to just give people the basics. So there's a couple options in what we can do. Any questions on either of those?
Taylor, you can offer both options, right? Because I'm thinking people may, if they pick and choose which they want, which would be great. Whatever training they get would be a bonus.
Yeah, we'll have to see what people are interested in. I know in Needham, they've had this program now for a few years. And I would say most people are interested in like being able to have a physical card that shows that they're certified. But yeah, if someone wanted like an informal, like for their group or something, just to learn how to familiarize themselves with an AED and how to do CPR, we could definitely do it that way.
And the other thing I'm wondering is if at some point we can partner and have you do it like one at Algonquin or something, for kids, for teenagers.
Yeah, I'd have to talk to Mary Ellen, but that would be a great idea if that was something that we could do.
Taylor, at maybe midsummer, we can touch base and see if we can pilot a program for at least one youth sport for the
Definitely. I
fall.
think that's a great idea.
Even if it's the 5-minute one, right? I just think there's such value in
Absolutely.
that. So let's see how, once you get your sign off.
Sign-offs. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we can, I'm thinking even like soccer might be a good one, just because there's so many kids on that field.
Yeah, no, that would be good. And then Liz, just so that you're familiar, I know everyone else knows, but you weren't at the meeting when we spoke about it. We host a town flu clinic in the fall every year, and we have ordered our flu vaccine. We had enough funding for that, thankfully. We order mostly high dose flu for our senior population, and they can come and get a free flu vaccine from us at the senior center sometime in the fall. We haven't set a date yet, but we do that annually.
Is the clinic only for is for anyone in town?
It's for anyone in town. We do have a limited supply. So what I normally do is release the date out to seniors first to register. And then after that, I open it up to other residents.
Great.
And since I have started, we've luckily been able to give out every dose of vaccine both years. So fingers crossed that it's the same this year.
And also employees.
It's also,
That's true. We give it to, we offer it to all the employees in town. we push it out to all the boards in town, and then we go to, last year we started going into the schools to vaccinate the teachers there too.
It's a great opportunity, Liz, too, if you are interested, to do registration. So, and we had the prior board member was a nurse, so she would actually administer. But I'm not qualified to do that. So, it's great. Like, you get to interact with, residents. It's a nice thing that the health department puts on. And it's
Yeah.
nice collaboration between both towns too.
Yeah, I think Barbara and Chelsea and I were on the registration check-in.
This year I am looking to get a senior tax write-off
Oh,
person to help me register people. So the way the system works, Liz, is that I don't know if you have gotten a COVID vaccine or a flu vaccine through, the state uses the color system. So for all COVID vaccines, for the most part, you register through color if you got it through like a municipality. It's a free program offered to municipalities, and you can register through that system. It's an online system. It, for the most part, is pretty user-friendly, but there's a lot of questions involved. And then also the insurance part can be kind of tricky to fill out. So I have spent the last 2 years in the fall talking people through how to register, or registering them myself. So I'm looking, I have someone in mind already who I have spoken to get a senior tax write-off person to do that piece for me. So maybe come into the office twice a week and then call the people who have called me to register them online so that I can free myself to do other things in preparation.
great idea.
So, and the senior center's happy about that too. So
I'm sure they are. That's great. I think that's a really good idea.
that's all the updates that I have, unless anybody has any other specific questions for me.
No, that's great. Thank you very much. Lots going on with camps.
Yeah.
Okay. Southborough Food Protection Program, Heather.
So we, in the fall of 21, joined the FDA voluntary food safety retail standards. And then through that, we have 9 standards that they're big. We're slowly implementing them in town, and that's grant money is available each year to advance the retail standards, and also for food safety conferences for employees that we've gotten in the grants there. So just to back up, Michael had said he would come today, but I'm not getting him on text or phone right now. So he has reviewed the documents as well. We created the food safety document with Michael and with our relevant, who makes our software, consulting on food safety, Diane Legere, to create that food protection in Southborough document. And it's part of FDA Retail Standard 3. You need to have written protocols in a department about how a food inspection is conducted in your town. So that's a big part of that document. The other part of that document is about our risk-based inspection standards and how we assign food establishments to the risk category that they are in. The current state guidance on food inspections is a little bit outdated, but they're using the 2013 food code, and they wrote their regulations in 2018, I believe. That's fine. They have a recommendation for all establishments to be inspected twice a year, or if a town wants to do a risk-based inspection, then the town, and so this, we're doing this because we do risk-based inspections, scheduling. The town needs to provide to the state kind of a written protocol of how you assign establishments to their risk factor. So that's also what this document is doing. So we will send that document to the state food protection standards. And that's kind of the big jux of the two important pieces on that food safety in Southborough food protection document. I spoke with our legal counsel. They said this is part of the FDA retail standards, and they didn't per se need to review this as long as we're in the FDA retail standard program, which we are. And the FDA, the second document is on adopting the FDA retail food safety document from 2017. And again, she thought that that document, has the food code has been, obviously vetted by many other people. And again, as part of the FDA retail standards, as a municipality, you want to adopt that code. So we're already doing a number of things that was updated in the FDA food code for 2017, but we're going to officially adopt that. And that piece will require a vote to adopt that, and also the signatures of board members. So we'll have that here for some time if you want to stop by. I can take any questions. Like I said, Michael's not here, but I can definitely take any questions on those two documents if you had any.
Heather, the documents look great. They look great. Definitely okay signing those. My only question was, does this cover, like I'm thinking of the issue we had with Fitzgerald's throughout the year. Does it also cover these convenience stores and places like that sell food?
Yes.
So they're not actually making food, but they're selling it.
Exactly. So those are kind of convenience stores, if you will. And the per the state, actually, the least time for inspection is twice a year, and on a convenience store it can actually be once a year with a phone call at 6 months just to check that they haven't changed what they're selling. So for a risk-based, that type of place is going to be a 1 or a 2. And for us, with certain establishments, the amended document from June 5th, I think I sent the up-to-date one, but I had worked earlier on a document that was taken directly from code, but we added the one for the June 5th. I don't know if you've noticed that establishment based on prior violations can be moved up, right, to a risk factor 4. We're gonna, like I said, send to the state for them to okay. We have a different document that's not in front of you about how each establishment in Southborough and what their risk number is. And then the document that does state that you can move them into a higher risk based on prior violations. So we have some establishments that have moved based on prior violations.
And do we track that in the software, Heather? Like what number
In
there?
terms of how often you're inspecting or
Yeah.
what the risk?
Yeah, like, well, do you track their risk factor in there, and does that trigger like?
Yeah,
an
no,
alert?
it doesn't alert you. I'd say that way. We have a different, Google spreadsheet that lists their risk factor in Southborough, and that will share with the state, but it's not triggered in their relevant software that they, there might be a place for us to note it, but their risk factor, it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4. But it doesn't trigger, oh, come back in 3 months. It doesn't trigger that way.
Okay.
Not in the software, but yeah, that would be nice.
Good. Does Michael have a town issued ID?
Does Michael,
He
he
does?
does.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And I think the content on the documents looks great. Can we make it look like a policy? Like do we have a standard format for policies?
Seal on it.
We can
Yeah,
put
and
our-
I'm just thinking like, and maybe this is a larger conversation than just this, but I think we should have our policies be consistent and numbered. So I don't, in, whatever numbering system we want to have, BOH dot
Right.
chapter 1, whatever. But, and have it all look uniform, and maybe we don't have that consistent yet.
Okay.
We did the noise one. Remember last summer, we did a policy and a guidance document. And so I think at the end, it kind of might have said the date and who wrote it, but we'd have to look back. But yes, to make that uniform would be a good idea.
So Barbara, maybe before the next meeting or even before August meeting, maybe you and I can get together and look at the policies
Okay.
as a whole and
Yeah.
try to make them consistent.
Mhm.
Just because I think we're getting to the point now where we're implementing more policy,
Right.
tobacco, and I just
Right.
want to make sure that it's uniform and easily accessible for people on our website.
Right.
Got it.
Right. And I think some of the well one is in the 90s. So right, that's on our website. Right. So right. I don't know if we can make them exactly uniform because some have been there for a while, but yes.
Or maybe we need to revise some
Yeah,
of them to
how they
just
look.
look
Mhm.
better. Okay. All right. Anything else on food before we vote? All right. So Heather, you need a motion on adopting the 2017 food code.
Correct.
Okay. And Michael's good with this, even though the other towns are still on 2013.
Well, the others are on the state. They don't have their,
Okay.
right.
they're-
We're
but the
currently
state's good.
per the state, but right. They are good with it. I've spoken to
Okay.
both towns. Right.
Okay. All right. So I move that the Southborough Board of Health accept the 2017 edition of the food code.
And I second the motion and vote aye.
Aye.
Chelsea, aye. All right. Thanks, Heather. Encompass Substance Use Prevention Coalition and DFC grant. Heather?
I
Or-
can just update real quickly. I know Safdar knows about this because he's a coalition member. So the Northborough Southborough Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition has been around for many years. And for the past year, we've worked within this coalition with a consultant, Amanda Decker from Bright Solutions, who's done a fair number of municipalities in Massachusetts working with the coalition. So one of the first things was on bylaws and sort of rebranding. So Encompass is now the name of the coalition that covers Northborough and Southborough. And we also worked on a membership drive, and we also worked on, we had the retreat this year for an action plan and some of the, the priority items that we're going to work on, which was informed with the Metro West health survey data with the schools. And Amanda Decker, the consultant, has also worked with other towns about applying for a drug-free communities grant. So this spring, the coalition submitted a grant, a federal grant for becoming a drug-free community. Obviously, it covers both towns because the coalition is made up of members from both towns. And I believe we're going to hear about that in August. It is $125K per year. Schools are deeply involved in this since they're in both towns, and youth and family service. This is a multi-sector law enforcement, parents, healthcare providers who are involved in the coalition. And like I said, we are looking for new members. We meet as a steering committee. We meet as a general coalition monthly. I can take any other questions on that.
I think that's great. I hope we get it. And I think that along with the opioid settlement money, we can really do a lot of great
Dig in.
things, especially
Yeah.
for our youth population
Yeah.
and everyone, right?
Everyone. Yep. It's everywhere.
So
Yeah.
I think that would be That would be a huge asset.
Right,
get
I think the
this.
drug-free communities grant, we would certainly look to hire sort of a prevention coordinator for the two towns, which I think would be really helpful to keep that ball going, because as I mentioned before, the schools, Mary Ellen, we're all involved, but we're all also doing other things. So to really have that dedicated chair that's going to work on, employees going to work on this, getting our great ideas,
Right.
keep them moving forward.
Great. Okay, thank you. Okay. Reorganization of the board. So after every election, we reorg chair, vice chair, secretary. Barbara thankfully does our minutes mostly. So thank you to Barbara for doing that. So the secretary really just makes sure that we're up to speed with it getting posted. And the vice chair's role is really to run the meeting in the absence of the chair. Generally. But we're a 3-person board, so it's not a lot of people. So everybody gets a role. So does anybody have any interest in doing chair? Okay. I'm happy to do it unless somebody else wants to do it. So it's I love doing it.
It's all you, Chels.
You're doing a phenomenal job
Yeah,
of it
it's all
too.
you.
Your organizational skills and your knowledge of how things work has been instrumental in getting this board to where it is. So.
All right, great. Happy to do it. Safdar, would you like to do vice chair again?
Yeah, I can do vice chair again.
Okay. And Liz, you
Chelsea's at almost all the meetings, so I really don't have to do much.
I do plan the meetings around my schedule to be.
That's okay. And that is okay.
Although we will probably have to figure that out in the
Right.
fall is once
Right.
you're back to your regular
Yeah.
schedule. Liz, are you good with secretary?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So I'll make a motion that Ms. Malinowski will be chair, Dr. Medina will be vice chair, and Ms. Zulik will be secretary.
And I second the motion and vote aye.
Hi.
And Chelsea's aye. I did put it at the end of the meeting just in case somebody else had to run the meeting on my agenda. I didn't want you to have to be like, I have no idea what she's going there. Okay. Okay, upcoming meeting schedule. So we are scheduled for July 18th, I think, and this is on Zoom. We have that at 9:30, and then we said August 15th at 9:30. Does that still work for you guys? Okay.
Yep.
And Liz,
Sorry,
when
can you just tell me the dates again? I don't think I was at that meeting that we
oh,
just.
sorry, July 18th, August
Yep.
15th,
August 15th at what time?
9:30.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. And when are you back to your regular schedule is, do you know yet?
September, I do know, hold on a second. Give you the real date, September 13th.
Okay.
But if it's usually an hour and it's and this time works for everyone, I can block my calendar. It's I just need to know in advance. So if we can
We
set the
we
times
try to
and-
be very efficient.
Yeah.
I try to keep it under an hour.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be under an hour, I usually warn you that this is going to be lengthy.
And that's fine. I mean, I can usually just block my calendar. So if this is the time that kind of works for everyone, I'm more than happy to give this the try.
Liz,
for
Do you
fall.
like the 9:30 or the 10?
If it's at 9:30, it is possible that I might be driving for the first part of the meeting. I drop off my kids on Tuesday. And sometimes if there's traffic, I mean, I'm usually back in the car by 8:15, but sometimes there's traffic, I'm actually not in Boston by 9:30.
Okay.
I'm fine with that if it's, oh, this is the other thing. I will not be in person if it's
okay.
at that time.
That's okay.
I'll be remote, yeah.
We can bring you in via the owl. That's
Yeah.
not a big deal. So do you want to do an in-person on September 12th or do you want to do it on Zoom the 19th? September.
Let me just check
Whatever
my
you guys
calendar.
prefer.
The other morning, I mean, I'm also have time Monday morning where my schedule is blocked for administrative things. So Liz, I don't know if Monday morning's a better morning for you, because we can definitely look at on Monday morning as well. I would have to zoom in Monday morning, but you know, that I also have a lot of flexibility in my schedule on Monday mornings.
Monday mornings are not as flexible for me. I meet with my boss first thing on Monday mornings. And so it's always a fun one.
Just real quick I know it doesn't really matter if I'm here or not, but I'm
It
not
does.
here August 15th.
Okay.
And I also already have a huge commitment for the Leadership Matters program on the 19th of September.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be available that day either. Again, doesn't really matter, but
So I prefer
I
you not.
think I'm available. You wouldn't want both of us gone, but I think I'm available those dates.
I
So,
actually may not be available the 19th, but I will be available the 12th. So I don't know if we just want to pick the 12th then, if that
Let's do the
works for
12th.
everybody in
and then we
September.
can figure out if it's in person or Zoom. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. And fall town meeting, I believe, is October 17th. Just so y'all know.
thank you.
I'm
Okay.
almost done. All right. Good on that.
Mhm.
Public comment. You don't have any public. So that's it. So, thank you everyone for joining this morning. And I move to adjourn at 10:44 a.m.
Yep. And I second the motion, vote aye.
Hi,
And Chelsea's aye. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.
thank you.